Hello there, I'm Euge Valovirta, and on this one I'm gonna show you how to get that crunchy ZAKK WYLDE studio and live sound. Alright, so there were a few songs that I wrote inspired by different eras and sounds of ZAKK WYLDE. So, I mean, we all know the majority of the sounds comes from your hands, what you play, how you play. You know, pickups just pick up the sound, overdrives just boost it, amplifiers just amplified it. But it has to, you know that stuff. But let's forget about that. And about the gear. Well, you can't really go wrong with a Les Paul and a Marshall. So, probably many of us know that, you know, ZAKK uses mainly Les Pauls and EMG 81, 85 pickups. With those pickups, there's that natural compression, which brings up the, you know, pinches and stuff. And in my opinion, they sound very consistent all over the neck. Some other pickups, you know, they may sound good here, but then they're kind of like dull here. But that's one of the reasons I like EMGs too, especially 81, 85. Okay, cool. Then, what you need? Well, Marshall. I mean, you can get the sound with, you know, lots of amps because most of it's here. But Marshall JZM 800 2203, you know, wouldn't hurt. And what I have here now is ZAKK WYLDE's signature amp, which is basically a reissued 2203X, but with 6550 power tubes and ZAKK WYLDE graphics. The 6550s, they're basically like the military version of EL34s. They have a little bit more headroom, maybe a bit wider low end, and the upper mids are a little bit different. It's a little bit, you know, muscular, but you can do well with the EL34s. Okay, how to set up the controls? Well, I've always said, don't use your eyes, use your ears. You know, because different amps, I mean, if I would set this amp from 85 to sound like this, the controls will be quite different. Because especially the old Marshalls, so never mind the controls, but in general, what I usually have around bass is pretty much full, sometimes a little bit less. Presence, I like to keep it, it's 7 now, so lots of that. Mids, usually I keep them around, you know, 5-ish, something like that. Treble, 6.5 now, okay. Master, the louder you dial it in, the better the amplifier will sound, but it will be extremely loud. But what I have here is the Sir reactive load, so that takes the hit, and then it goes to Steinberg audio interface and to my DAW computer, and I'm listening myself via Genelec speakers. So the volume is, I can control it with, you know. So now, right now it's 5.5, almost 6. Preamp usually full with 800s. Okay? Then what you need? Overdrive. Whoops. Well, what I have here was SD1. This is the Waza Craft version. I have my old one on the other board, but I use it on the standard setting, so it's basically, you know, standard SD1. That works well. I like this pedal the most, overdriving tube amps, because this has asymmetrical clipping, not symmetrical. Asymmetrical, so it's the similar clipping than at least what 800 has. So to me, this feels like part of the amp and not just the pedal. And it cuts the lows nicely and adds some mids. Then what I just had here, it was the noise suppressor, very mildly set. It just cuts out the hiss what this, you know, produces, but, you know, whatever. And then Chorus Ensemble. That's for the live sound. Because, well, based on many articles, and I met Wylde in 2005. The meeting was supposed to be like 15 minutes, like, hey, thank you. We ended up talking like 3 or 4 hours, talk everything up, gear, whatever. So basically, how he records, he doesn't use the chorus, because when you double or quadruple the tracks, you get a natural chorus. But he uses chorus live, split into 2 heads to get that similar effect, like there will be double guitar. Because what chorus essentially is, it shifts the pitch and time a little bit, so you get this, especially when it's divided into 2 amplifiers. So, very simple gear. ZAKK used Marshall cabinets. I guess he used, like, you know, your standard Charleston speakers. Nowadays he uses the EV speakers. Well, I have my trusty old Jens Bugera side of God EQ2 IR. That works on everything. So, that's basically the gear. Really, really simple. The most important thing is your, you know, attitude. You have to command the guitar. Okay. Now I will connect these and I will show you what I did to get the sounds I had on the video where I played with the backing tracks. I recorded one guitar mono when I filmed myself, and then I quadrupled those. That take. We'll go that soon, but first let me show you just the basic sound. So, guitar, Jason 800. No overdrives, sounds like this. All right, so we need to boost that with SD. And as you hear, the hiss, but when I engage the noise suppressor, it's quiet. So it's just, it's after the ESD, just to get rid of the hiss from the SD. Don't really use it as a gate. I use my volume. Okay, so that was the sound I used to record those tracks. The settings were exactly the same. Well, you saw I played one take. And that's where the magic happens, what is done post, like album-wise. So, what we're gonna do next is we go to the screen and I will show you what I did and what post effects I used to create those No Rest for the Wicked, No More Tears, BLS kinda tones. And then we go shortly back where I show you the live setup. I need to connect a little bit differently these things. Okay, now to the screen. Okay, so here we are at the screen, and as you can see, here's the drum tracks I programmed. And the bass I played. And this is the track that I recorded while I filmed, and then I just cut it and moved it to this track, which has no more chair guitars, and then here, because I had a little bit different effects going on. So, let's listen first the No Rest for the Wicked inspired track, which is actually from my solo album, Easy Does It, called Triggered Boulevard. Alright, so let's listen. As you hear, the guitar sound is pretty wide, so let's listen it solo. So I have made a group track, so everything goes into this group track. Okay, so what I did here, so as you can see here, they are panned hard left, hard right, and then the double of this left track is like 60% and this is 60%. So what's going on there? This is what's going on. So all these 4 tracks goes into this group track where I have a THU's plugin, and The most important thing for the No Rest for the Wicked and No More Cheers era sounds is this Symphonic 90 plugin. It's a preset from Yamaha SPX-90 effect processor. They don't make that anymore, but THU has made a plugin of it. So this is kind of like chorus. It does something weird. It just makes this lush kind of random sound. And then your standard chorus, which I had just like a little slow. So it's just there to widen up the sound a bit. So let's listen once more. I will put this on and off so you hear. Like that. So you get this more wider sound, and I had just there a little bit reverb, because that's what you did back, at least back in those days. So it's important to understand that these effects, you know, they are added afterwards. So you want to record your signal dry, because if you record your signal, let's say with reverb or delay or this, you know, symphonic, then it's there. You can't do anything about it. But when you record it, the signal basically dry, like what I did, the only effect I had was the super overdrive. So then you can add and tweak these afterwards when you're mixing the track. So that's really important to understand. And you know, this is just basically, I think, a simulation, emulation of bass pedals. Obviously you could use whatever reverb or delay, but this is just very simple stuff and it sounds pretty good. So that's why I used that. Okay, so, and let's listen the individual tracks. So, and this is really important when you're doubling, so you're not just copying the take you did to another track, because then it's exactly the same, but the whole idea is that you double those, so you do different takes, because there's always, no matter how close you try to play exactly like you played before, there will be some human element which add more wideness. And you know, if you're using tube amps, they behave differently. You know, 5 minutes ago it sounded like this, 5 minutes after it could be a little bit different. And that adds already kind of natural chorus effect. And if you wanna, you know, boost the chorus effect, you add these effects. Okay, so No Rest for the Wicked. I think there was four tracks. Remember, I think ZAKK said that it was like quad trebled, doubled, 2 times doubled, whatever. Okay, then let's move to the No More Cheers era track. So again, I recorded the signal dry and sounded like this. So, when you listen to the album, especially the No More Tears track, there's this quite significant amount of that Symphonic 90, SPX-90 preset. So as you can see here, I have dialed it quite a bit more than what I had on the No Rest for the Wicked. So lots of depth, so it creates this, you know, swirling thing. And then the chorus is afterwards that, and again, small reverb. That's kind of, you know, to mimic like if there will be a room microphone or something. So let's listen with and without the post effects. All right, and again, 4 tracks, 4 different takes. You know, you can see from the waveforms that they are all a little bit different, which makes it sound wider. And then when you add these post effects, you know, you get the sound. All right, then let's move to kind of like a BLS era. And that sound is a lot drier and sounds like this. So there's nothing going on, no post effects. It's just, I mean, see, this is it's inactive. So BLS sound, and I guess later Aussie albums, you know, that lush chorus and a reverb, I think, went out of fashion. So, and I actually like, you know, this is kind of what I did for Red Wolf album. It's dry. So sounds like. But then the solo, I mean, I just cut it afterwards and move it to here on this lead track. And what I have there is little bit stereo delay and reverb. That's what very common. So you get this nice spacey sound. So it's not like in your face like the rhythm guitars. This is what what we used on Red Wolf's album and Syra and everything. So all the leads, melodies, they have a little bit of delay and reverb, or just reverb or just delay, but in this case I used both a little bit. So that's kind of, you know, I think what ZAKK has used on BLS. When you listen to the albums, the guitars are really dry, panned hard and left, and it's basically like doubled. Some parts, yeah, maybe there could be more guitar. Basically, it's just one left, one right. That's what I do usually. On Shining albums, I think I did 2 on each side, but on Syra, Red Wolf, you know, it's just one guitar each side. Cool. And you get that like natural chorus sound, because it's two different takes, you know, without any effects. Quite simple. Okay, and then let's check out the live sound. So let's get back to, I'm gonna play this tune here. the same by using 2 amps and a chorus pedal to achieve a little bit similar sound. What you do, you use the chorus pedal to split the signal into 2 amplifiers. So right now what I have here is a maybe there. So the signal goes from guitar to super overdrive, and then there's the noise suppressor, and then the chorus, and then there's 2 outputs from the chorus. If you would use this with 1 amp, you would put the mono out. But then when you use this with 2 amps, the output A becomes the more chorused sound, which isn't that good on its own, and the output B becomes the main sound, which is the body of your sound. So you have to, when you're using this, and obviously you use 2 cabinets or 2 IR loaders or whatever, you need to, you know, make sure that the front of house guys knows which one is the main sound, the body of the sound, and which one is the chorus. Because I think this is what happened. The Crazy Train, our Aussie tribute band back in the day, I posted on the first video, first show, the sound is really good. But on the second show, it sounds like quite thin and out of phase. I think what happened, because my cabs, the amps were really loud at the venue. So what the sound guy did, he basically just, majority of the guitar sound was coming from the stage, and then he just put it that more chorused amp / cabinet to the PA. And that's, you know, because the recording was from the mixing deck, so that's what got recorded. So that's why it sounds a bit different. So let me show you. Okay, so 2 amps. This one goes into this. This one goes into this Bugera, and from Bugera's line out, it goes here. And then I have a Jens Bugren Sound of God EQ2 IR there added afterwards, same that I have here. Chorus is off, so it sounds like this. And yeah, by the way, that very Miracle Man inspired riff / song, that's from my solo album, Easy Does It. There's Jules Navaris singing on that song. And the song is called Triggered Boulevard. So if you want to listen to the whole song with vocals, I'll put the links below. Okay, so it sounds like this. Then what happens when we add chorus? So you get this wide sound, and this one from output B is the main sound, and this it has a little bit chorus, and then from the output A, which goes into this, the sound is a lot thinner, but there's a lot of chorus, and when you combine those sounds, you get this huge sound. And when you do this live, depending on the electricity of the venue, it can get really noisy and there could be some grounding issues. Luckily for me, I don't have those at here, but I remember when we did those Crazy Train shows on some venues, it was like really noisy, so I was constantly needed to. In some venues, it was just fine. There's devices that can help you with that, you know, but that one is good to keep in mind. Okay, so now I'm recording this here so I can show you now how they sound individually. So let's go again back to the screen and I will show you the differences and so on. All right? So, all right, that was the live thing, and I must say that the chorusy sound could have been better, because the Bugera, I mean, it's good for what its main use is, to, you know, soak the volume, but the direct out isn't very good. So, you know, it sounds a little bit worse than it will be with the better equipment. But, you know, for the practical matters, I used that. And what I have here is, you know, you've seen live when there's, you know, cabinets, there's several microphones. So that's why because that the front of house guy, you know, he can pan those. So what I did here, I played one take, but I recorded the signal into 3 channels. So what I have here is the ZW head, which has the kind of the body, the basic sound. That's in the middle, and that's like quieter of them. And then I have the ZAKK WYLDE, the majority of the sound, the body sound, panned hard left, and then the chorusy sound, where I use the 800 from 85, that's panned hard right. So it sounds like this. Well, this is what you know, one option which you could do live. So you know, spread it and then one in the middle. So let's listen once more, just the 2 guitars, panned hard right, hard left. And then when we add the middle guitar, and this is all the one take I filmed myself when I recorded myself. But because of the chorus pedal, it sounds like there's 2 guitars, and that's the whole idea and the reason, you know, why ZAKK uses and why I use on the Crazy Train shows, because it gives you audio image that there will be, the guitar will be doubled. I mean, there's pedals that can do that, you know, with just one head, but this is, you know, the old school way of doing. Okay? So, as you heard, it sounds a bit like there will be more guitars, but there was only one take, so this is basically like, you know, left cabinet, right cabinet, and then the left cabinet, but panned center, like, you know, if you have different microphones in there. So the right one, which has a lot more chorus and is a little bit thinner. I remember when I first did this, I thought that the pedal was broken because it sounded so, there was just like the chorus, but that's the whole idea. So that was how to get that ZAKK WYLDE sound. Hopefully you found this interesting and informative. You know, if you like this, thumbs up, please subscribe, you know the drill. Hey, all the best. Until next time, take care. See ya.